this is still maybe a new idea, but I think it's clear at this point that, Bitcoin is a better form of money than gold. It is provably scarce, just like gold, but it's more portable and divisible. So you can actually it has higher utility, I would say. And it was the best performing asset of the last 10 years. And so for store of value, I think it's going to be important for governments to hold this over time. It might start with being 1% of their reserves, but I think over time it'll come to be equal to or greater than gold reserves.
Real question is, what does the market ultimately think about the long-term value here, right? And I think that's the big question is, if it is just a token that has no business, has no revenue, I think that investors should be cautious and figure out, hey, what is the value over the long run?
And that's kind of the point about what I think, and I don't want to speak for you, Kelly, whatsoever, which is, what is it? What backs it, right? And I guess it's just the same idea as Bitcoin. The idea there's 21 million. Of course, a lot have been lost, so it's not 21 million. You get my point. The whole thing is sort of built on scarcity, and it's got some real value because of that scarcity alone, like a Picasso painting or something, right? There just won't be any more of those things. But, you follow all the hot takes. You look at like Dave Portnoy over the weekend, right? And Dave's like, what's this Trump coin? How is it different than a Ponzi scheme? And then he buys Melania, loses some money, right? And he's widely followed and listened. And he's making, by the way, I think, whatever you think of Dave Portnoy, really good points. Like, what is this thing?
Yeah. I mean, look, I do think that there's an element of who's also buying it, right? Obviously institutions and large financial organizations are now buying Bitcoin. I think the Bitcoin is the king of the crypto world, will remain the king of the crypto world, and that's going to be the asset that is accepted in the institutional world. The meme coins are really kind of a retail phenomenon online. Dogecoin is like a 60 or $70 billion asset, I think. It's just a joke. There is no business. There is no cash flow. And so is the market being irrational, or somehow has the internet started to ascribe value to a joke? I don't know. Again, I'm not buying this stuff, but I do think that Trump has this massive brand. If he's able to sell watches, if he's able to sell sneakers, if he's able to sell NFTs, we shouldn't be surprised that he's also able to sell a meme coin, right? And so I do think that the long-term viability of this is what people should be paying attention to. And frankly, we don't know yet, right? It's only been around for 3 days. It's sitting at a $30 billion market cap, which is much higher than anyone thought that it would go originally.
Place surprises me. And at Franklin Templeton, we obviously are traditional finance plus. We've been pretty active in the crypto space. We have a tokenized money market fund. We're a node validator on 13 layer 1 and layer 2 platforms. I'm always surprised by how big the crypto space is, people who come to these conferences, names that you would know that would come to these conferences, and then how on the traditional asset management or even the traditional finance side that there's literally blinders on to this massive growth in this community. And at some point, they have to come together. And I think the challenge is, from a regulatory standpoint, is that it's really difficult because it's very disruptive, but it's literally like two parallel universes kind of running together, along.
The thing, what Jenny's doing and what Franklin Templeton has been doing since 2019, which is insane to me, because they were the first ones to the market with respect to this, and they were the first ones who went to the SEC. And by the way, that part of the SEC was actually working in the United States to actually get these things approved. But the fact that it is taking these assets and eventually, hopefully, I would love the idea to get these to yield-bearing assets to be able to be leveraged in payments, because frankly, that's what everybody wants. You want to be able to get interest on your money even when it's just sitting there for a few minutes. And so I think that that's a really, really important piece of it. What we see so much on Stellar, when I talked about velocity instead of volume, there's so much focus on volume in this industry and how much volume is on the chain with respect to this asset. But really what the point of this technology is that you can actually move assets extremely quickly, peer-to-peer, and get them without borders all over the world. So it should be about velocity and usage. And that's what we see so much on Stellar, is we see people building all over the world, and they can actually transact in, there's this one great story about this company, Decaf, who builds a wallet on Stellar, where they're actually leveraging the USDC in Colombia, San Francisco, Colombia, so that they can actually pay gig workers there. These people now take the money, they can move it off chain through MoneyGram, they get their local currency, and they spend it in their small town of San Francisco. And so therefore, they're able to create, we call it on-chain effects. So they get to be able to take the money, it gets used very quick, it gets off-chain very quickly, but then it's used locally. So it actually improves the local economy. That's the value of blockchain. That's what blockchain does so beautifully. And we're seeing this happen all over the world. And we're seeing, just think about the UNHCR. They're delivering aid into Ukraine, into Argentina, leveraging the Stellar network. And for them, even though it's only been $5 million that they've actually sent through the blockchain, they've saved $12 million using blockchain technology versus all of their cash-based assistance. That's the value of blockchain. Also, the end user receives it in less than 3 minutes. They have to do the wallet, they sign up for the wallet, they register, but they receive the aid in their wallet in less than 3 minutes. That's crazy, but that's what blockchain does. And this is the part that we don't talk about and haven't talked about for so long because there's been so much negative attention with respect to this regulation, not just in the US, by the way, outside the US, but these are the kinds of things that help everyone in every country, and this is what we want to see.
I'd separate out this sort of crypto versus stable assets and digital movement of money, because we already move the vast majority of our money digitally. Our consumers do, our companies do. And so the question is, what's the business practice that you have to move another type of currency? So if the rules come in and make it a real thing that you can actually do business with, you will find that the banking system will come in hard on the transactional side of it, non-anonymous, transactional, verified, et cetera, because we have to, because it's just another way our customers are going to.
The other thing we were talking about was the possibility that Bitcoin and some of these cryptocurrencies actually are a threat to the U.S. dollar. Scott Bessent's talked about needing the U.S. dollar to be super powerful.
Yeah.
Is it a threat?
I think there's a whole bunch of dynamics about all the trade and all the consumption of the U.S. consumer and all the stuff that goes on. But I think we do need a strong U.S. dollar. We need a U.S. dollar to be reserve currency. It's good for our country. But what I'm saying is, if you go down the street here and you go in and buy lunch,
right.
If you can pay with Visa, MasterCard, a debit card, Apple Pay, et cetera, this will just be another form of payment in an instantaneous cash transfer. And so I think if it becomes regulatory okay, which it wasn't before, and that's one of the issues, you'll see the banking system enter with. We have hundreds of patents on blockchain already. We know how to enter the field. When you get to the investment side and the Bitcoin stuff, that's really a separate question. That's more on the investment side. From the transactional side, I think you'll see the banking industry make moves.
Welcome to the Crypto Teacher, and I come back with that video just to make you think.
Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel.
And make sure you're joining the Patrons. If you're not a part of the Patrons, make sure you're hitting the Cash App. And also, guys, make sure you go like and follow the TikTok. More videos to come. And we have Brian Armstrong really said that Bitcoin is better than gold. And he said it with a straight face. But guys, we know it's all about diversifying. But we also know history, and we also follow the Fed. And the central banks are buying up all the gold. And remember, the Crypto Teacher told you. And we have Trump, one of the greatest salesmen that ever lived. And we know he owes the bank, and he's been making them billions right along with the family. But this is the President of the United States with a meme coin. Yes, guys, your life is an illusion, and TV is your reality. And I can see if he stated there was a nonprofit to give away 75% to these wildfires, we haven't heard anything. And then on top of it, it's not like we can't see that the supply is controlled. And remember, the Crypto Teacher told you. Now we have Jenny from Franklin Templeton talking about the two economies running parallel. And I talk about all the time. You got the legacy, and then you got the digital economy. And while the sheep sleep, the NWO builds. And she knows why the legacy market has blinders, because we know the mainstream media makes you indecisive, and the big banks and the big corporations that have been funding crypto from the beginning, they're definitely not going to say anything. They're going to make sure this technology is seamless before they bring it to the people. Remember, they don't want critical thinkers. Now we have Stellar CEO and the power of this technology. And don't forget, guys, we saw the United States use Stellar, use Ripple to move money inside of Venezuela to bypass Maduro, sending them USDC. and that was back in 2020. So we know for a fact this technology works. If your government is using it, it definitely has been working, but don't forget they want it to be seamless. And we have Bank of America's CEO, Brian Moynihan, says that they'll be happy to move payments when it comes to these digital assets, but they need regulation. But guys, we know that big banks and big corporations have already implemented a lot of this technology. The utility of these digital assets are a whole lot more than just payments. And we see that with BlackRock and JP Morgan. Now we have Trump on AI infrastructure. Brings in Larry Ellison, Masa's son, and OpenAI's Sam Altman, and we know all about Elon Musk. And these companies are pushing the fourth industrial revolution, where the robots, algorithms, and drones take the economy over, pay each other with crypto, and the sheep go inside the metaverse. And I'm not going to talk about Larry Ellison or Oracle. I just let you read it, and I've done plenty of videos on OpenAI's Sam Altman and the WorldCoin. And then we have Anthropic, which works behind the scenes, doesn't get a lot of media attention, but if you do your research, you understand how powerful this company is. And what did he say? AI better than humans at all tasks. And yes, you heard that correct. And we know they're going to keep trying to sell you that. And the sheep are definitely going to fall for it. And he also talks about the AI model Claude, which can control your computer. And those who've been me from the beginning know I always talk about a manufacturing economy versus a service economy. It's a whole lot easier to replace a service economy with these machines. And this was strategically done because majority of these jobs are monotonous. It's the same old thing. And just like you train the brain, you can train these algorithms to take these steps. But if I put you in a manufacturing economy, it's going to give you an imagination. It's going to give you an idea in order to create something better. And that's the reason why we have to go back in the lab and get closer to the creator. And remember, the crypto teacher told you. And with all this AI coming, cybersecurity is definitely going to be needed. But you guys know how I feel about hacks. But then also, privacy is going to be the new gold. And then we have Trump pulling safety measures when it comes to AI. And we know why. He wants the AI, these bots, to run wild. And remember, the crypto teacher told you. Because he knows when it comes to the NWO, it's all planned out. You have a wonderful day.
Case of Larry Ellison, it's well beyond technology. He's sort of CEO of everything. He's an amazing man, an amazing business person. But to announce the largest AI infrastructure project by far in history, and it's all taking place right here in America. As you know, there's great competition for AI and other things, and they're coming in at the highest level. We're joined by Oracle Executive Chairman Larry Ellison, SoftBank CEO, my friend Masa Yoshi's son, and CEO of OpenAI, and I would say the by far the leading expert based on everything I read, Sam Altman. So that's great that you're coming in together. That's a massive group of talent and money. Together, these world-leading technology giants are announcing the formation of Stargate. So put that name down in your books, because I think you're going to hear a lot about it in the future. A new American company that will invest $500 billion at least in AI infrastructure in the United States, and very, very quickly, moving very rapidly, creating over 100,000 American jobs almost immediately. This monumental undertaking is a resounding declaration of confidence in America's potential under a new president. Let me be a new president. I didn't say it, they did. So I appreciate that, fellas. But it'll ensure the future of technology. What we want to do is we want to keep it in this country. China is a competitor, and others are competitors. We want it to be in this country, and we're making it available. I'm going to help a lot through emergency declarations because we have an emergency. We have to get this stuff built. So they have to produce a lot of electricity, and we'll make it possible for them to get that production done very easily at their own plants if they want, where they'll build at the plant, the AI plant, they'll build energy generation, and that will be incredible. But it's technology and artificial intelligence, all made in the USA. Beginning immediately, Stargate will be building the physical and virtual infrastructure to power the next generation of advancements in AI, and this will include the construction of colossal data centers, very, very massive structures. I was in the real estate business. These buildings, these are big, beautiful buildings, are going to employ a lot of people. And physical campuses and locations currently being scouted nationwide. They're making their choices of locations. I think they have their choice.
Close to powerful capabilities. Throughout the 10 years that I've been working in this field, I've always said, I don't know for sure. This is the direction it seems like it's going in. We could be getting to very powerful or human level systems. I still think there's uncertainty. I think it's important to be humble. But over the last 6 months, I would say that uncertainty for me has decreased a great deal.
And gets to where? Gets to AGI or gets to something else? And that's artificial general intelligence.
Yeah, AGI has never been a well-defined term for me. I've always thought of it as a marketing term. But the way I think about it is, at some point we're going to get to AI systems that are better than almost all humans at almost all tasks. The term I've used for it in an essay I recently wrote is a country of geniuses in a data center. It's a sort of evocative phrase for all the power and all the positive things and all of the potential negative things. That's the thing that I think we are quite likely to get in the next 2 or 3 years. I don't know exactly when, but the things that I've seen inside Anthropic and out of it over the last few months lead me to believe that we are on the trajectory.
One of the things that you've done that I think is remarkable is you have effectively taught, or maybe it's taught itself, effectively how to use a computer. Meaning, rather than have APIs and have to go directly into things, that effectively it can go and use a mouse and find the things that it needs to go off and do. How game-changing is that?
Yeah, so the way I think of computer use, which is what we call that capability, is I think of it as the first step towards a broader vision. So our picture of the broader vision is we are planning this year in 2025 to build something that we call the virtual collaborator. And the idea is that would be an agent that operates on your computer, on a computer, might operate at work, and you can give it tasks. You can say, write this feature for this app, and it'll write some code, it'll compile the code, it'll check the code, it'll talk to its coworkers on Slack or on Google Docs or on some other platform. It'll check in with you to see how to see how the task is progressing. So over the next year, we're going to be gradually putting out the pieces of this vision. And along with that, making sure it's safe and controllable and all of those things. And I think of computer use as the first piece of that vision. We initially released it a few months ago. It was an early prototype. It was good for its time, but we are quickly going to be iterating on that, but also on other pieces of the grand virtual collaborator.
About how the cybersecurity industry is prepping for the rise of AI. Take a listen.
When you step back and you think about the seismic change that's taking place with AI, it's equivalent to what we've seen in other areas, right? So let's think about security. We first secured your networks, right? Your internal networks. Then we moved to the cloud, and that required a whole new suite of tools and techniques. And now really the next greenfield area will be all of the technologies and companies created to secure AI.
Key oversight around the development of AI now gone after President Trump revoked Biden's executive order on AI safety right at an inflection point in the race between America and China. Deirdre Bosa has more in today's Tech Check. Hey, Dee.
Hey, good morning, Leslie. So this may be less about Trump aligning with tech than it is about a shifting dynamic in global AI adding urgency to the race. Now, removing the EO is one way of addressing that, even if it was largely toothless in the first place. Some context here. Back when Biden put the guidelines in place, the race between the U.S. and China in AI, it wasn't even close. America was way ahead in terms of private AI investment, research quality, industry leadership by the likes, of course, of OpenAI, Anthropic, Google. Today, however, it's a very different picture. We've talked before about Chinese lab DeepSeek, which shocked Silicon Valley late last year with an open source model that rivaled our best American models, built at a fraction of the cost with dumbed down NVIDIA GPUs. Now, over the weekend, DeepSeek dropped another breakthrough. It's R1 reasoning model that matches the performance of OpenAI's O1 on certain benchmarks, again, at a much, much lower cost. And again, Silicon Valley was impressed and a little stunned. VC Mark Andreessen, whose firm is an investor in OpenAI, he reposted this from an NVIDIA senior research manager emphasizing, we are living in a timeline where a Chinese company is keeping the original mission of OpenAI alive, that is truly open, frontier research that empowers all. Perplexity CEO Arvind Srinivas, he responded, yeah, WTF, and he has already added the new DeepSeek model to Perplexity Labs. Now, put another way, guys, AI developments out of China, they have sped up and narrowed the gap the U.S. used to have in this race. A CEO operating the space, he puts it to me this morning in this way, China has fully caught up. He says it's not narrowed, China has fully caught up. And so you don't hear many in the industry upset that the president rolled back the executive order, even those that praised it when it came out in 2023. That may be indicative of a changing dynamic that places innovation and American dominance over safety. Scale CEO Alexander Wang took out a full-page ad in the Washington Post today. It reads, America must win the AI war. And guys, that is a sentiment shared among the VCs and founders I talk to on a regular basis, and a theme that we are certain to hear more of during President Trump's term from large language models to chip export bans, which we've also talked about, have done nothing to slow China's.
Going to a different economy, and we're going to be learning more about that as we go. But clearly, we're learning that things can be done from remote locations. We're learning that technology can replace people even more than we thought.
We're not going back to the same economy. We're recovering, but to a different economy, and it'll be one that is more leveraged to technology. And I worry that that is going to make it even more difficult than it was for many workers.
In Silicon Valley, and my friends who work in technology know that what we did to the manufacturing workers, we are now going to do to the retail workers, the call center workers, the fast food workers, the truck drivers, and then even bookkeepers, accountants, insurance agents, lawyers, and on through the economy. So what happened to the manufacturing workers is a very clear sign.
And so we'll import Chinese-based CBDC technology. So it's going to be CBDC in a box provided to you by the People's Bank of China.
But every stock, every bond, every currency, every commodity, every piece of art, every private business, every piece of real estate will eventually be a token on a blockchain, an entry on a ledger, permanent and immutable. We will have truth instead of trust, and we will save over $7 trillion a year. 6 to 8% of global GDP is wasted by the friction of the trust industry that's necessary when you have dual entry accounting. With triple entry accounting, which is what a blockchain is, we get rid of all of that friction. It's a beautiful future.
Like what you see in China and their social credit scoring systems, right? If we get identity wrong, it could be a tool to enslave humanity. And if we get it right, it could be a tool to liberate humanity. And as an American, I'm obviously rooting for the one that's on the side of freedom.
Bitcoin is an international asset. And also, I do believe the role of crypto is, it's digitizing gold.
I actually believe this technology is going to be very important. Look at it. We have been part of the huge revolution in investing through ETFs. We believe that ETFs will be changing the whole way we invest. Many people still use it as a means, people are investing it for indexing. No, the majority of people who are putting money in in ETFs are active investors that are buying exposure. The entire bond market is being transformed as we talk right now. I believe the next generation for markets, the next generation for securities will be tokenization of securities. And if we can have that distributed ledger that we know every beneficial owner, every beneficial seller, we all have our code of who's buying, who's selling, instantaneous settlement. And think about it, it changes the whole ecosystem.
Chinese bank ICBC has been hit by a ransomware attack, and the U.S. Treasury market, as a result of that, has been disrupted. This, according to the Financial Times. We're getting at more right now with Bloomberg's Shonali Bassick. Shonali, what do we know?
Listen, we have the Financial Times now reporting that ICBC, one of China's largest banks here, was hit with a ransomware attack. And remember, they're a very significant intermediary in the Treasury market. The SIFMA has told its members that this has been part of the reason here that the system is kind of clogged up, if you will, during that auction that we saw a little bit before. The attack had prevented ICBC, according to the Financial Times, from settling Treasury trades on behalf of other market participants. A large executive at a major bank also telling the paper that such a large party on the fixed income clearing corp creates major concerns, potentially impacting the liquidity of Treasury markets.
Now, it was not just a poor auction. It was absolutely lousy, and you know, when the dealers have to step in to save a treasury auction, that's a rare occurrence.
Cryptoteacher and the new World Order book, plus the 3 kids books. It's time to re-educate. Also, new to cryptos, Coinbase, Bitrue, Binance. Do not forget book links and crypto links are in the description. The stock channel, guys. Don't forget to go like, subscribe, spread everywhere. You have your Kobo, your chip stocks, your banking, your gaming. While everybody's sitting at home, get home stocks, the Seaver, the biotech stocks. And while everybody's at home wishing, they were still getting that free money. What are they doing? Drinking and smoking weed. Don't forget about those stocks, and you have a wonderful day. The most powerful person in the world is the storyteller. The storyteller sets the vision, values, and agenda of an entire generation to come. Steve Jobs. And guys, you know I truly believe in this. When you look at the New World Order, they're the storytellers. And that's the reason why I wrote my New World Order book. But guys, now it's time to change the current generation. And I wrote 3 kids books. You know I love the Trinity because I understand the power that's in it. So I have 3 books. We have an opportunity to change the generation, to educate, not just me, but I want to show you that I take action on a daily basis. And I want you to take action on a daily basis. Whether it's your job, whether it's in your community, we have an opportunity right now to educate the masses. I posted this on my Twitter account. Please share, but this is a short clip of the 3 books. There's going to be a clothing line and action figures. Please get these books for your kids, nephews, cousins, friends, so therefore we can start the re-education now. Because as we see, the 4th Industrial Revolution foundation is definitely here. Robots, algorithms, drones, taking humanity out the picture. We have to re-educate. But let's get into the video.
Part 1. King Joshua and Grandma Tam save the village. Part 2. King Joshua and Grandma Tam save New York from COVID Stories 3. Part 3. King Joshua and Grandma Tam goes to China.
It's mandatory to get part 1, part 2, and part 3 of this series. It's time to re-educate Generation Z.